What's up, y'all? This is your girl Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen. To all of my returning subscribers, I love you. Hello, babies. And if this is your first time joining me on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like right now. Like now. Like hit it right now. Because you know you want to. And while you at it, click that notification bell. That way you'll be alerted whenever I make a new post. All right? So with that being said, today I want to do a birth chart reading on Miss Rihanna, the sexy ass Rihanna, savage ass Fenty. Woo, she fine as hell. I have the biggest crush on her, and I got a couple of requests actually to look into her birth chart. So that's what we're gonna do today, and yeah, so let's get started. So Rihanna was born February 20th, 1988 at 8:50 a.m. in Bridgetown, St. Michael, Barbados. Now this makes her a Pisces sun, but her moon and ascendant are both in the sign of Aries, with her moon in the 11th degree and her ascendant in the 15th degree. Now, this combination, right, her moon, sun, moon, ascendant combination are literally what makes her this fiery kind of bad gal. It gives her this bad gal kind of personality. Aries is the natural ruler of the first house, and a lot of people who tend to have a heavy concentration of Aries energy in their charts, especially to very personal planets like your moon, sun, even Venus, Mars. These people can be very aggressive. These are very bold, outgoing, even charming, charismatic people. But they also, especially with Aries enters the moon, are very expressive. These are people who wear their emotions on their sleeve. These are people who 9 times out of 10 they have a hard time not reacting to things, because Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, and Mars is a warrior planet. So when you put such a fiery kind of energy, a fiery sign in a planet like the moon, right? It becomes very impulsive, so to speak, right? And these people tend to even like be confrontational on the more negative side, or people can perceive them as being very dramatic or addicted to drama, or even like bullies. These people, especially women, can be extremely bossy. Now, your ascendant sign governs how you appear in the world. It can even say a lot about your physical, like how you look, right? Your physical body. And so it really just compounds on this Aryan energy, and it gives her this bad girl kind of je ne sais quoi that she's been known for throughout her career. And side note, another celebrity with their moon in Aries is Cardi B, right? And they have very similar personalities as far as them being very reactive individuals. Like Cardi will read something on the internet about herself or something that she doesn't like, and then she's popping off. She's very expressive. She's always voicing her opinion. And it's kind of similar to Rihanna in a certain way, given that once upon a time, I remember back in like 2015, Rihanna was no stranger to clapbacks. And even now, but I haven't really seen her like just snapping on people as much lately. But I know there was a time, even with other celebrities, like Rihanna is no stranger to quote unquote clapbacks, or she's no stranger to making her opinion known. There was even a time where she was dragging TLC, like the legendary group TLC, because she felt like they were coming at her sideways. She's been feuding with Azalea Banks. Well, Azalea Banks kind of feuds with everybody, but you get what I'm saying. She's feuded with Tiana Taylor. So she's not a stranger to beef, and I would definitely put her in that Cardi B sub genre, or that subcategory of celebrities that don't mind being very vocal about their opinions and really don't step down to anyone. Now, this could actually say a lot about her relationships, and particularly what went down between she and Chris Brown that faded evening that the domestic dispute took place, okay? And the fact that her Venus, Jupiter, and her asteroid Juno, and Juno is the asteroid that deals with your relationships, are conjoined to her first house, or to her ascendant in Aries, definitely makes a lot of things make sense as far as just her the dynamic of her personality, as well as the type of men that she attracts. And with this placement, I can tell you now that, I mean, it doesn't make it right, but I would not be surprised if she hit Chris Brown first. I would not be surprised if Rihanna is the type of girl to get upset and punch a nigga dead in his face. I would not be surprised if Rihanna isn't the type of woman to try to bully her man. And Venus in Aries in particular, and I just did a video on Venus in Aries. Women with their Venus in Aries tend to be they're attracted to bad boys. That's number one. And so with her Juno and her ascendant and Jupiter and her moon, all in Aries as well, this kind of intensifies that archetype. It intensifies a lot of these characteristics. So this could deal with Rihanna definitely being drawn and attracted to bad boys. And with her Venus being in the 12th degree, and that number 12 deals with victimization and sacrifice, this could be her entering into relationships to where she's either going to be on the abuser end of the spectrum or the abusee, right? Abuser, abusee, right? Either the person doing the abuse or the person taking it. And Mars in general is just a planet that deals with willpower. So, and I find this to be true with people who have lots of Scorpio energy as well, because Mars rules Scorpio also. It's just a lower octave of that Martian energy. But these people have this reoccurring theme of power struggles in their relationships, and they could be in their interpersonal relationships as well as their like intimate relationships. And with Rihanna, this could be true even with her relationships with women. This placement is indicative of somebody who just naturally does not get along with other women, and it's typically because they're very masculine and kind of cut off from that reservoir of feminine energy. So this could just manifest in them viewing other women as being very catty, and maybe other women are very catty towards them, and vice versa. But this definitely indicates that Rihanna has to be with somebody who can like handle her. And I know a lot of women say that, like, oh, I have to be with a man, he got to be able to handle me. But if she's not dealing with a strong-willed guy, she's likely to run all over him. And then this could lead to like a lot of very touchy situations, because you can like, there's a very thin line between somebody who is like, a strong-willed and who's not going to let you run over him, and like a nigga that's just going to beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets that battle of the will, that power struggle dynamic gets very, very touchy. And with her Scorpio Pluto forming a quincunx to her ascendant, this could definitely manifest in her attracting men who are physically abusive, and her being physically abusive right the fuck back. So this definitely points towards that dynamic between she and Chris Brown. It's most likely that they were abusive towards one another, and that fight was a two-way kind of fight. It's just that with Chris Brown being the man in the situation, he obviously is going to get the best of her. Not saying that it's right, but it's just what it is. And this could even reflect in her kind of entering a lot of different relationships, but getting very bored really quickly. And I do believe she did an interview with some magazine saying that, basically she's sick of men and she gets bored, and, like just taking like a very unbothered stance to dating. And that's something that I personally love about Rihanna. And some people criticize her for it, because you know how I go when women do what they want to do. We thoughts, right? But Rihanna, she definitely has no fucks to give, and she's very open about just her being free to be a bachelorette. So you might see her with a guy on Monday. You might see her with a different guy on Wednesday. Recently, she's been dating some billionaire, some Indian billionaire, but I'm pretty sure if she gets sick of him, it's time to move on to the next. So bringing me back to my original point about her Juno being in Aries in her first house, this could be her attracting a lot of relationships to where it's almost like she gets off on that cat and mouse chase. So she enjoys a challenge. She probably enjoys relationships or situationships that are, number one, based on physical attraction, because Aries is a very sexual sign. Like I said, especially with her Venus in Aries, she's highly sexual, highly kind of seductive. I'm pretty sure her sex life is intense, okay? And she enjoys the idea of being with people more than she probably does actually being in a relationship. Because when she actually gets these men who are tied to her, who actually want to connect and settle down with her, the thrill is gone and she's ready to literally move on to the next. And something else I found interesting is that her Pluto is conjoined to the fixed star Alpaca, and it deals with people who are very sexually promiscuous, maybe is a good word for it. And it deals with people who engage in a lot of secret affairs, and people who can even be widely known for being bisexual. And with her Pluto forming a negative aspect to her ascendant, as well as all of the planets in her first house, this could point towards Rihanna, number one, encountering a lot of drama in relationships. Because, I mean, this fixed star is just a bad omen for relationships in general. So these people can deal with a lot of trouble, a lot of pain, suffering in regards to, just their love life. And it can bring about scandal. It can bring about loss of image in public, loss of reputation. These people can even be engaged in like secret affairs that if it ever came to the surface, it could absolutely cause a lot of just disarray, honestly, within their career. So this could be her kind of like, I don't know, fucking with married men, or fucking with people who like the public probably wouldn't like the idea of her, with, and men who are very powerful. And side note, it's just kind of been a rumor, a running, rumor amongst the industry. I don't know if it has any verifiable, credible weight to it. I just find it interesting that her alpaca is making this placement with so many of her personal planets, and a lot of people are saying that she was fucking with Jay-Z at a certain point. I don't know, but this placement, if that were to be true, this placement would definitely make sense. I'm gonna just leave it at that. And her moon and Venus are forming a square to her midheaven, and this indicates there being a strong desire to please others on her part, and it could kind of conflict with an inner desire to rely on the self and kind of do what she really wants to do. This could also produce a push and pull between somebody who wants to, like, who's naturally married to their career, and then kind of feel like they feel compelled to settle down at certain moments. So this overall theme of me versus them, what I truly want versus probably like what's expected of me, or what other people kind of want me to do. And especially with her Juno squaring her midheaven as well, this could deal with her getting into relationships with men who probably want more than she's willing to give, or maybe than what she's sure that she can offer at the moment. And definitely it can indicate that she's with men who are way more into her than she is to them. And then I found this placement to be interesting also because it's like recently she hasn't been releasing music, and a lot of her fans, and what does she call her fan base, the Fenty Nation, the Re Navy, whatever they call it. A lot of these people from her fan base are clamoring, and Rihanna, where's your album? Because she hasn't released an album since 2016, that Anti album, and everybody's like, what are you doing? Especially since we're in a society where people are literally oversaturating the market with music every other week. So, and a lot of people are wondering, like, is she turning her back on music to pursue her business ventures? Because although she kind of hasn't really been on the music scene as of late, she's definitely been making strides in her business ventures. Her makeup line, Fenty Beauty, is doing amazing. She came out with a lingerie line. She inked a new deal for like a high-end fashion brand. So she's doing a lot. She's making big moves. And I think this aspect can absolutely, yes, it can point towards like that push and pull between like her being domesticated and actually getting married and having kids, and being married to her career. But this can also point towards a push and pull as far as her pursuing a line of work that she actually wants to do versus her continuing to take the route that she's most known for, if that makes sense. And she has some other elements of this kind of crises, this push and pull in her chart, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But this also could point towards her being or having a reputation for being a sex symbol, especially with her Venus being conjoined to her ascendant, that makes a very attractive person. And it can even produce someone who models, for a career. And it actually also points towards her inclination and her like strong affinity for fashion, because aside from everything else, she's also known to be a fashion powerhouse. She's always setting trends. Even when she was only releasing music, she was a very fashion forward kind of person. People looked to her to see what she was going to wear, even outfits that would not look good on anybody fucking else. This bitch could wear a potato sack and still look like money and still look good, the fuck good, okay? So this could point, because a lot of people who have their Venus conjoined to their first house are also very fashion savvy, because they're literally dealing with this element of Libra, so to speak, because Venus rules Libra and Taurus, and it's kind of like almost like this element of art, right? It's a art to the way that they look. There's this element of art to the way that they dress, and how they surround themselves, and the things that they surround themselves with. They can appear to be very beautiful, well put together people. And Aries, being such a sexual and just passionate, fiery sign, I mean, these people can be downright irresistible. And like I said, leading credence to this theme of her being a sex symbol. Her Juno squaring her moon reinforces this theme of her having very intense relationships, relationships that are filled with lots of highs, lots of lows, especially with it being conjoined to her moon, because the moon tends to be very moody, because it fluctuates, it waxes, it wanes, it goes through various cycles, and these people can be in relationships that can, inadvertently affect their career. This is also a placement for somebody who has a lot of things given to them by a partner, and having a partner that can help them propel their career. Having a partner who kind of puts them in positions for them to win. And I don't want to perpetuate this Jay-Z thing, but didn't he put her on to like Rock Nation? Wasn't he the one to sign her? I'm not saying that she and Jay-Z went steady, but like I said, there's this theme of her, like I said, engaging in secret behavior, secret affairs, and then as well as her being in positions to benefit from powerful men, and primarily these men in who she kind of engages in certain activities with. But I'm gonna leave that there because I don't need the trolls on my ass. I'm just literally reading what I see, y'all. I'm just reading what I see. Her moon is squaring her Neptune, which deals with number one, her having a mother who was victimized, especially by the hands of her more dominant parent, because that 10th house represents the father. And I believe Rihanna came out and admitted that her mom or her dad used to abuse her mom. And this could also deal with her having a career in the arts, her having a very creative based career via music, via fashion, a la, all of that stuff. Acting, because Neptune represents artistic abilities. Now, her Mars is at the 28th degree of Sagittarius in her ninth house. Now, this could deal with, because that 28 is very close to the 29th degree. Like I always say, the anaretic degree can bring a lot of upheavals. It can bring a lot of crisis. And it could even produce a lot of third party situations. Now, in Rihanna's case, this could actually deal with her attracting men who are foreign. Because, with Sagittarius, that Sagittarian energy is very much about variety. It's about foreign land, long distance travels, right? Because it's in its natural sign, in its natural place within that ninth house of the chart. And as a result, these people can attract men from different cultures. They can be drawn to, and if I'm not mistaken, Rihanna has been alleged to have dated everyone from Leonardo DiCaprio to this Indian guy that she's with now. So it's clear that she doesn't have one specific type. And that's Sagittarian energy too. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius person, male or female, or somebody who has heavy Sagittarian energy in their chart. And when it comes to their love life, it's like you could be with them, but if you look at their ex probably looks nothing like you. And if y'all break up, the next person that they get with will probably look nothing like you or the person before you. So it's hard to tell with these people what their exact type is, because Jupiter wants so much variety. Jupiter loves things that are exotic and foreign. So these are the type of people who, want a little bit of all the 32 flavors, not just one specific type of person. So yeah, this definitely deals with her affinity for foreign men. And then it can manifest in a lot of those dark-sided Sagittarian traits, with it being so close to the 29th degree. So this could be Rihanna being very much like a commitment phobe. And this reinforces this theme in her chart of her not really being the traditional woman, in the sense of like, oh, I'm going to date a guy. I'm so in love. We're together. We're going to settle down. Like, this really reinforces her being a player. Because I always say, as a Sagittarius myself, we ain't shit. We ain't that Sagittarius energy. We just not. Okay? It just is what it is. And some people are nicer about it than others. But, Sagittarian likes adventure and likes exploration. So, especially in men, these people can be playboys or playgirls and bachelors and bachelorettes. Her Mars in Sagittarius can also represent her being from a different land herself. Because once again, that ninth house governs long distance travels, especially with it opposing her Chiron and Gemini. And with Gemini being the natural ruler of the third house, that deals with childhood, like childhood experiences and lower level communication. So this could point towards her coming to the States. I don't know what age she actually moved to the States, but at some point throughout her childhood, moving to the States, or even just her being the type of, or coming from a family that weren't really able to put roots down early on. So even when she was in Barbados, maybe they moved around a lot. Maybe her at home, home environment wasn't really stable. There was a lot of activity going on. And also her Mars is squaring her Saturn, and this deals with, it reinforces this these daddy issues that she got going on. Like I said, there's the abuse, right? The whole theme of abuse with the father. But then there's also this element of him being strict. So it's clear that he dominated the household. And there's this element of her being a rebel, just a rebel within her family, because that Sagittarius at the 28th, well, the 29th degree, let's just call it the 29th degree because it's close enough. Sagittarius at the 29th degree deals with this kind of just need, this compulsive need for freedom. So I'm sure a lot of her actions and a lot of what she's even founded her career on, like just that edginess. I'm pretty sure her parents, or her father at least, at some point has just kind of sat back and was like, yeah, this ain't how we raised you, shorty. Like, I mean, what can they do about it? She's grown and she's bringing in millions upon millions of dollars, but this could point towards her being kind of a black sheep a little bit in some way in her family. And this could be reinforced with her Mars being conjoined to her Uranus, because that creates a rebel. This is an aspect of I always call it the daredevil aspect. Somebody who is, I mean, they crave freedom, especially with that Sagittarius element present. But these people can also be very quick to react. These people can react to things without thinking of the consequences. And this further compounds a lot of this Aries energy in her chart. So, I mean, and this definitely all comes together to create this, like, just super bad gal who, like I said, I would not be surprised if she's the type of bitch to, like, you know, beat a nigga ass. Like, you know, being very hands on, like, you know, just aggressive and abrasive and, you know, at the very worst, a bully, to be honest, a bitch. You know, she could come off as a bitch to other people when she's vibrating at her lowest. This creates an aspect for somebody who can react out of anger and does things just, you know, like I said, on at the spur of the moment, especially with Sagittarius being a mutable sign. Mutable signs are prone to extreme violence. I pulled up a list of serial killers in one of my readings. It was like, I don't know, 60 names. All 60 of them were mutable signs, either Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, or Virgos. Do you understand? So this aspect could definitely produce somebody who is prone to cutting a fool. Okay, rash behavior. And if not controlled, it can bring about a lot of issues. And it could even cause accidents. You know, she could be prone to accidents and stuff like that, especially with her Mars opposing her Chiron and Gemini, because that third house also deals with vehicles. So, yeah, if I was Rihanna, I would be very careful about the way that I travel as well. Her moon is in trine to her Jupiter, and this could produce a couple of things. One of those things could be blackmail, because this is like a quintessential blackmail aspect. And this could produce, in her case, somebody who has certain things held over their heads, particularly by men or partners, people in and of the industry. And if I'm not mistaken, Jay-Z is a Sagittarius. And with that 29th degree dealing with third party situations, third party interference, I would not be surprised if Rihanna has been blackmailed, or not even really blackmailed, but if he kind of put her into a position where he was able to hold certain things over her head. You get what I'm saying? So the more I look at her chart, the more I'm really starting to believe those Jay-Z rumors, quote unquote, that there's something valid to them, definitely. But this aspect can also produce somebody who is very freedom loving. It just kind of reinforces this Sagittarian energy, because you already have it sitting, her Mars sitting in the crisis point of Sagittarius. And then when you combine Jupiter, which is naturally ruled by Sagittarius anyway, and Jupiter literally enlarges everything that it touches. So, I mean, this could be somebody who can be just downright reckless with their sense of freedom. Just, they'll do anything just impulsively, acting impulsively on a whim. These people can be exhibitionists. I mean, in quite the literal sense, like walking around naked, letting it all hang out, exuding behavior that other people would be like kind of put off by, crude behavior, rude behavior, which Rihanna has exhibited often throughout her career. And it kind of just kind of adds to her sex appeal in a way because it makes her this super edgy kind of persona. So yeah, there's that. And then this could create somebody who is definitely they can combust. They are prone to sudden fits of like reactiveness, rage. So that kind of adds to this theme of her being very reactive and having a very short fuse. Somebody who can act very impulsively, who are drawn to quite dangerous activities and therefore can enter situations that are just downright dangerous and life threatening. And even though this is a song, you know, it's not necessarily her life, so to speak, or she hasn't said it's been her life, but it's making me think about that song Russian Roulette that she put out right right after the situation with Chris Brown happened, when she was kind of in this in between phase of her transitioning to this like bad girl. And the whole concept of it, you know, the whole Russian roulette thing is her sitting with a guy, literally taking turns spinning the chamber of a gun and trying to see who who was gonna get shot, basically. And in a lot of her music, even just off of that, what was it? Was it Good Girl Going Bad, or was it the other album after that? But y'all drop down in the comment section and let me know. But they contained a lot of element, like dark, grungy elements of just like dark shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just downright dangerous behavior, very taboo. A lot of that is her Scorpio energy, her Pluto Scorpio being so close to her first house. But this aspect can definitely deal with somebody who is just drawn towards the more dangerous, like daredevil people who like are adrenaline junkies, who kind of get a high off of chasing very just dangerous situations. Is the best way I can describe it. And this also deals with somebody who is very competitive, which actually makes her an amazing businesswoman. Aside from that Aries energy, that surplus of Aryan energy, which I always say deals with somebody who is like, they make great entrepreneurs just because Aries is a very competitive sign. But her Mars forming trine to Jupiter actually produces somebody who can definitely be a mogul, who does really well with being a mogul in their own rights. And side note, I know this is like, I know I can jump around from spot to spot within her chart, so y'all just follow me. Y'all know how I do, okay? But I forgot to bring this up in the beginning of the video, but her Jupiter, because like I said, Jupiter makes everything bigger, everything that it touches bigger. And with her ascendant being in the sign of Aries, Aries governs the head and the face. So with her Jupiter being conjoined to her ascendant, this actually can point towards Rihanna's big ass forehead. I thought I should point that out. And I also forgot to mention, with her Mars being conjoined to her Saturn, this could point towards Rihanna being into some like really kinky ass sex, like some real like dominatrix, domination / submission kind of shit, which is very interesting because she came out with a song called, what was it, SDM, what, that sex and magic, like, hold on, what is it called? Let me look it up right now. SNM. It's called SNM, y'all. Okay, yeah, so this could deal with her like liking a lot of just like downright just kinky shit in the bedroom. And because Saturn deals with the teeth, she could be the type of person who likes to get bit and some more shit. Like, Rihanna, ooh, call me. And I also forgot to mention that her Juno is 1 degree off from the fixed star Algorithm, which deals with rash behaviors, rash actions that come at the hands of a partner. And it deals with drinking, lots of drinking, an overabundance of drinking, alcoholism, people who develop lots of just habits with substance abuse. And she has a couple of indicators of substance abuse in her chart also, especially with her moon being conjoined to her Neptune, that can also point towards that, as well as her being a Pisces North node. And then this aspect could definitely point towards her being under some type of influence of substance abuse, but then her attracting men with substance abuse or substance abuse issues, should I say. And taking it back to the Chris Brown thing, this makes it highly probable that she and Chris were under the influence of some shit the night that domestic dispute took place, or whatever it was, whatever you want to call it. They were probably not in their right minds. And I would actually argue that their relationship, a lot of their relationship, dealt with drugs. And a lot of people know, and it's kind of like common knowledge within the industry, that Chris Brown is no stranger to foreign substances either. So this definitely makes a lot of sense. Her Jupiter trining her Uranus and Saturn reinforces this theme of her being just a daredevil, being very much a rebel, a freedom fighter, a thrill seeker, a thrill chaser, somebody who does not like to be confined, restricted, and therefore will just kind of like buck authority, buck orthodoxy in all kinds of ways. Her moon conjoining her ascendant, I forgot to mention, also makes her very prone to mood swings too. Lots of mood swings. And also her Neptune is squaring her ascendant. This also reinforces this theme of drug abuse in her chart. But then it can also make her very artistically inclined, as well as indications of like a very profitable career in modeling and the arts and things of that nature. Now, finally, I want to get into her lunar nodal placements. She is a Virgo South node and Pisces North node. Now, with Virgo ruling the 6th house of the chart and Pisces being the natural ruler of the 12th house, this lunar node placement can deal with somebody who becomes a workaholic and can kind of even be a slave to their environment, a slave to what other people, like serving other people, because Virgo is the sign of service. And they can find themselves in positions to where they're doing things for other people, or just, just to say that they're fulfilling an obligation, right, that is imposed on them by other people. And this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, that internal struggle that seems to be present between doing what you want to do and doing kind of what you've always known versus actually seeking more fulfilling activities, or just finding yourself, because that 12th house represents spirituality. It represents even just you kind of retreating within themselves. It can even indicate hidden enemies and your undoing in the subconscious mind, and creativity. A lot of creativity is drawn from the 12th house as well. So this could point towards Rihanna having just a natural, like a karmic responsibility to, I would even argue, step away, not completely away from the music scene, but kind of what she's doing now, stepping away from her just everyday pattern of creating music and doing what she's kind of been known for, and stepping more into the role of her doing whatever the fuck it is she wants to do, and her even drawing on some of her that, like, her spirituality, and because her sun is placed here as well. Her sun is in her 12th house of Pisces also. So her sun being conjoined to that north node could absolutely describe her being the type of person to, it's vital for her to kind of retreat into her creative space and do things, engage in activities that are going to be spiritually fulfilling, meaningful, and something that she kind of like that's going to allow her free range to express her own creativity in her own right. And with her south node being in Virgo, as well, she also has her Mercury in the sign of Aquarius, and which falls in her 11th house. It indicates that Rihanna does have a lot of self-sacrificing kind of characteristics. So, and this makes her a great humanitarianism. And I know she's been recognized for her achievements in that regards too, because she's very philanthropic, and she's always doing something to help somebody else, and she's always lobbying or rallying, rather is a better word, for a cause, and helping children from different parts of the world, and this, that, and the third. But on the downside, this placement can actually, especially with her south node in Virgo, can actually indicate that her focusing so much time on her obligations to other people can cause health ailments. Because, that sixth house also governs your health. So there could have been an instance to where she maybe got really sick, or something happened to where she realized, like, I'm always doing things for other people. My fans rely on me for this type of music, or they expect this from me. And when I'm not working and doing music, I'm giving back to the community. What can I do for myself? What am I going to do that's going to make me happy? That's going to set me, on my soul path to doing something that I really want to do, and luckily she was able to find that by way of her being a creator, a fashion designer, a brand ambassador, by way of her makeup and things like that. So, I mean, hey, I think that's a great idea. I think she's definitely being true to her north node. And the only thing I would caution is that, like I said, that Pisces energy does deal with a lot of substance abuse. And I know she's a huge smoker. She's a huge advocate for smoking weed. Like, this bitch will smoke weed anywhere. She will roll a blunt at your mammy house at the dinner table while your mammy saying grace. But I would if Rihanna was to ever see this video, I would actually caution her just to be mindful of that, right? And there's nothing wrong with moderation, but a lot of people with Pisces North nodes and Pisces South nodes can tend to kind of get carried away with that element of escapism, So, yeah, that concludes my reading for Miss Rihanna. Drop down in the comment section below. Always let me know your thoughts. And as well as any suggestions that you may have for a reading that you would like for me to do in the future. And as always, make sure y'all practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until next time, I holla.